Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone. Oh my gosh, I am so excited today. Leo, are you ready?
I am always ready, Zuby. Always. But you look extra excited today. What happened?
I had my morning coffee and my favorite biscuits. So, yes, I am running at full power today.
Dangerous combination. Okay, everyone, welcome. You are listening to our podcast, and we are so happy you are here.
Yes, whether you are drinking tea, walking to work, doing dishes, or just relaxing, we are glad you chose to spend this time with us.
And today we have something really, really special. I think this episode is going to stay with you for a long time.
It stayed with me, and I am one of the hosts, so that says something.
But first, okay, I have to say this. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Yes, it is free. It costs you nothing, and it helps us so much. Also, like this episode if you are enjoying it, and please share it with one woman in your life. Just one. Send it to her right now.
We want more women to find this space, so your share is the biggest gift you can give us. Thank you.
Okay, Leo, let's get into it. Today's topic is, drum roll please, the 2026 woman, how to change your life, your habits, and your communication in 6 months.
6 months. That is it. Not 6 years, not a whole lifetime. 6 months.
And this is important because we are already in 2026. The world is moving fast. Women everywhere, students, housewives, working women, everyone is asking the same question.
Which is, how do I grow? How do I actually change? Not just think about changing, but actually do it.
Exactly. And many women feel stuck. They feel like they are the same person every year. Same problems, same habits, same conversations.
Oh, yes, I was that person. I kept saying, okay, next month I will start. Next month became next year.
And today, we are going to break that cycle. We will show you how real change actually happens, step by step, simple and clear.
No complicated theory, no scary big words, just real talk, real examples, and real tools you can use starting today.
So, Leo, let's start with the very first thing, the foundation. Why do most women, and people in general, fail to change, even when they really want to?
Good starting point. I think the number one reason is they try to change everything at the same time.
Everything at the same time. Yes, I did this. New year, new me. New sleep schedule, new diet, new exercise, new study plan, new everything, all in one day.
And then by day three, nothing.
By date two, honestly.
The brain cannot handle too much change at once. There's actually a word for this. It's called overwhelm. When you have too many things to do, your brain shuts down and you do nothing.
Overwhelm. Yes, I know that word very well. It's like your brain says, too much. I'm not doing any of this.
Exactly. So the first rule of becoming a 2026 woman is this. Start with one thing. Just one.
One thing. That sounds so easy. Is it really that simple, Leo?
It sounds simple, but doing it, that requires focus, and focus is a skill. Most people have never been taught how to focus on just one thing.
Wow, I never thought of focus as a skill. I always thought some people have it, some people don't.
No, it is absolutely a skill, like cooking, like speaking English. You practice it and you get better.
Focus is a skill. I love that. Okay, so we start with one thing, but which thing? How do you choose?
Great question, and that brings us to our next point. The second thing we need to talk about is identity. Who do you think you are?
Oh, deep already. Okay, explain.
Okay, if you say, I want to wake up early, but deep inside you believe, I'm not a morning person, what happens?
You wake up, hit snooze, and say, "See, I told you, I'm not a morning person."
Yes, because your action does not match your identity, so the action loses every time.
So we have to change what we believe about ourselves first.
Yes, and the beautiful thing is, you change your identity by taking small actions repeatedly. Every time you wake up even 5 minutes earlier, you say to yourself, I am becoming someone who wakes up early.
Becoming, not I am. Becoming, that's a softer word, less pressure.
Exactly. Becoming is a process. It gives you permission to be imperfect while you grow.
I love this so much because I always used to say I am bad at English, and that stopped me from even trying.
And now?
And now I have a podcast in English. So,
Identity shift right there.
okay, so identity is huge. But Leo, a lot of women tell me, I know what I want to change, but I have no motivation. I feel lazy. What do you say to them?
I say, stop waiting for motivation.
Ooh, that's strong. Say more.
Motivation is like a guest. Sometimes it shows up, sometimes it does not. If you wait for it to come before you act, you will wait forever.
So, what do we do instead?
You build systems, routines, habits that run automatically like a machine even when you don't feel like it.
Systems. Okay, this is the habit piece of our topic. How do you build a habit that actually sticks?
There's a simple formula I love. It goes cue, routine, reward.
Cue, routine, reward. Explain that.
A cue is something that triggers your habit. Like every morning when I make coffee, that's my cue to open my notebook and write 3 things I'm grateful for.
Oh, so the coffee is the cue, the writing is the routine, and the reward is feeling good?
The reward can be anything. For me, it's the calm feeling I get after writing. My day feels more organized.
That's so smart. My cue is when I sit on the sofa in the evening, that's my cue to open a vocabulary app.
See, you already do this naturally, Zuby. You just didn't call it a system.
I had a system and I didn't even know it.
Most people do. They just need to make it conscious and intentional.
Intentional. I like that word. Doing things on purpose, not by accident.
Yes, intentional action is the core of the 2026 woman. She doesn't just let life happen to her, she decides.
She decides. Okay, wow. Let's keep going because this is getting really good. We talked about identity, we talked about systems. Now I want to talk about something a lot of women struggle with: communication. Leo, why is communication so hard?
Let me think. I think it's hard because we were never really taught how to do it. We learned by watching our parents, our teachers, TV, and a lot of what we learned was not healthy.
That's so true. I grew up watching women who never said no, who always said yes, even when they were tired or unhappy.
And so you learned that saying no is wrong, or selfish, or rude.
Yes, and it took me years to learn that no is a complete sentence.
No is a complete sentence. That is a very important phrase. Let's say it again.
No is a complete sentence.
Pause.
You don't need to explain it. You don't need to apologize for it. You don't need to add 10 reasons after it. Oh, but I used to. No, sorry, it's just that, I have this thing and also my schedule, and I feel so bad.
Yes, we all do that. But the 2026 woman is learning to communicate with clarity, simple, kind, and direct.
Clarity. Let's talk about that more, because I think a lot of women are afraid to be clear. They think if I am too direct, people will not like me.
That fear is real, and it comes from a long history of women being told to be gentle, to be soft, to not take up too much space.
take up too much space. That phrase hits me because I used to do that. I used to make myself small in conversations, agree with everyone.
And how did that feel?
Exhausting and lonely because nobody actually knew what I really thought.
Exactly. When you hide your real thoughts, you also hide your real self, and then you feel invisible.
Invisible. Yes, that is the word. So, how does a woman start to communicate more clearly, Leo? Practically, what does she do?
She starts with low-stakes situations, not with her boss, not with her mother-in-law. Start with someone safe, a friend, a sister.
Oh, good one. Start small. Low stakes, meaning situations where it is okay if it does not go perfectly.
Yes, practice saying what you think. Practice sharing your opinion, even about small things like which restaurant you want to go to, which movie you prefer.
I used to always say, whatever you want, even when I had a very strong opinion about the movie.
We all do that. But every time you say what you really want, even in a small thing, you're building a communication muscle.
Communication muscle, I love that. Like going to the gym, but for talking.
Exactly. And it gets stronger with practice.
Okay, so we have talked about habits, identity, communication. Now I want to go a little deeper. Let's talk about time. Because, Leo, I hear this from so many women. I do not have time.
The time question. This is a big one.
Because, honestly, housewives have babies, cooking, cleaning. Working women have jobs, commuting, family. Students have classes and homework. Everyone is busy.
Everyone is busy. That is true. But here's something I want us to think about. Are they busy or are they unorganized?
Ooh, that is a brave thing to say.
Not to criticize, but genuinely, when I look at my own day, I used to say I had no time to read, but I spent 1 hour on social media every night.
Oh, so the time was there, you just spent it on something else.
Yes, we all have 24 hours. The difference is how we choose to use them, and that choice, that is the privilege and the responsibility of the 2026 woman.
Responsibility, yes. Not blame, not guilt, just this is in my hands.
Exactly. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. A mother of 3 has real constraints, but even she can find 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Is that enough to change your life?
Over 6 months? Absolutely. 15 minutes a day of reading, of practicing English, of journaling, it adds up to 45 hours of focused growth.
45 hours. When you say it like that, wow, that does not sound like nothing.
It's not nothing. It's a university course. It's a skill. It's transformation.
Okay, I'm inspired. But Leo, I want to also be honest. Some women deal with something deeper. It's not just habits or time, it's self-confidence. That inner voice that says, you are not good enough.
Yes, that voice. We all know it.
What do we do with it?
First, you recognize it. Give it a name if you want. I call mine the old story.
The old story. Ooh, because it's not new information, it's an old recording.
Yes, it's old. It was probably put there by someone else, a parent, a teacher, a past experience. It's not the truth about who you are today.
Wow, it's not the truth about who you are today. I need to write that down. Now we are learning. Okay, let me ask you about something really important and a little personal. Leo, when you were growing, personally, in your habits, in your English, did people around you support you or did they resist?
Oh, good question. Honestly, mixed. Some people were very supportive, and some people were uncomfortable with my change.
Uncomfortable. That is such an interesting word. Why would someone be uncomfortable with your growth?
Because when you change, it sometimes makes the people who are not changing feel left behind, or like you were judging them, even when you were not.
Wow, that is deep.
So your growth can trigger other people's insecurity.
Yes, and the important thing is, that is not your responsibility to fix.
Ooh, not your responsibility to fix. Say that again.
Other people's feelings about your growth, not your responsibility to fix. You can be kind, you can be patient, but you cannot stop growing to make others comfortable.
This is something I really struggled with. I felt so guilty when I started changing, like I was abandoning the people around me.
And did you abandon them?
No, I was still the same person, just better, more aware, more honest.
Exactly. You were not leaving them behind. You were moving forward, and they were welcome to come with you.
That is such a generous way to see it. Welcome to come with you.
Change is not a competition. It is an invitation.
Change is not a competition, it is an invitation. I am putting that on my wall. Okay, let's get into our practical section. We want to give our listeners some real templates they can use right now, actual sentences, because we always say, practice with real language.
Yes, let us give 2 templates. First, for setting a boundary kindly.
My version. I would love to help, but I am not available this week. Let's find another time that works for both of us.
My version, I appreciate you thinking of me. Right now, I need to focus on my own work, but I wish you the best with this.
Both very warm, both very clear. No apology, no excuse, just kindness and clarity.
Second template, for expressing yourself when you disagree.
My version. I hear what you're saying, and I see it a little differently. Can I share my perspective?
My version, that is an interesting point. I actually think something different. Would you like to hear it?
Notice, both of us validate the other person first. We do not attack. We do not dismiss. We say, I hear you, and then, here's my view.
That small moment of validation, it changes everything. It makes the other person feel safe. And when they feel safe, they actually listen to your point.
So true. When someone feels attacked, they stop listening. They go into defense mode.
Defense mode, yes. The brain literally closes. So create safety first, then share your truth.
Now, let's talk about 3 real-life situations, because the advice sounds good in the podcast, but what about in real life?
Yes, real situations.
Situation 1. You are a student. You do not understand something in class, but you are afraid to raise your hand because you think everyone else understands.
If you are in that situation, you can say to the teacher after class, I wanted to make sure I understood that part correctly. Could you explain it once more?
That is so much less scary than raising your hand in front of everyone, and the teacher will respect you for asking.
Teachers love students who ask questions. It shows you are thinking, not just sitting.
Situation 2. You are a working woman. Your boss gives you too much work. You feel overwhelmed, but you don't want to seem lazy.
If you are in that situation, you can say, I want to make sure I do all of this well. Could we prioritize which task is most urgent? That way I can focus and give you the best results.
Oh, smart! You are not saying no to work, you are asking for guidance. That shows professionalism, not weakness.
And your boss sees someone who thinks about quality, not someone who just complains.
Situation 3. You are a housewife. You feel like you are invisible, like everyone takes you for granted, like your needs don't matter.
Oh, this one is important, and I think more common than people admit.
Very common. So what do you do?
If you are in that situation, start with yourself. Before you ask others to see your needs, see them yourself. Write down 3 things you need this week, not for the house, for you.
For you, not for the children, not for your husband, not for the house. For you.
And once you can name your needs clearly, then you can communicate them to others. You cannot explain what you yourself have not understood.
Wow. You cannot explain what you yourself have not understood. That hit me. Okay, I want to do the emotional part now, because I think a lot of women need this. Leo, what would you say to the woman who is listening and thinking, this all sounds good, but is it really possible for me? My life is too complicated. My situation is too hard.
First, I would say that feeling is valid. Your life is complicated. I'm not going to pretend it's easy.
Yes, we are not here to say, just think positive, everything will be amazing. Real life is hard. Real change is hard. But here's what I also know. You are harder. You are stronger than your hardest day. You are stronger than your hardest day. Ooh, I felt that.
The women who have made the biggest changes in my life, they were not women who had easy lives. They were women who kept going, even when it was hard.
Kept going. Not perfectly, not always confidently, just kept going.
Exactly. Progress is not always visible. Sometimes you are growing underground, like a tree root. Nothing looks different above the surface, but the foundation is being built.
Oh, I love that. Growing underground. Because sometimes we feel like nothing is changing and we want to give up.
But you are changing. Even listening to this podcast right now is an act of growth. You chose to spend your time learning. That is not nothing.
Yes, you are already doing something right. You chose this.
The 2026 woman is not scared of this journey. She knows it will take time. She knows she will have bad days. But she has also decided, I'm worth the effort.
I am worth the effort. Every woman listening, please say that to yourself. I am worth the effort. Change is not scary. It's actually an opportunity to meet the version of yourself that you have always suspected you could be.
The version of yourself you have always suspected you could be. Yes, she is real. She exists. She is just waiting for you to do the work.
And the work starts with one habit, one sentence, one brave conversation, one 6-month journey. Okay, recap time. And I love this part because it's just us talking like friends. Leo, what did you learn about me today?
About you? Let me think. I learned that you had a whole system for building habits and you didn't even know it. The sofa, the vocabulary app, that's a real cue routine setup.
I know, I impressed myself. And I learned something about you. I didn't know that you also used to be nervous about speaking in meetings. You seem so calm all the time.
Oh, I'm not always calm. I've just gotten better at pretending.
That is very honest, but also it shows that confidence is something you build, not something you're born with.
Yes. And I also learned today, again, how powerful language is. The way we frame things changes everything. A gate, not a wall. Becoming instead of I am. These small word choices change how we feel about ourselves.
I also loved what you said about change being an invitation, not a competition. That took away so much of the guilt I sometimes feel about growing.
And I loved when you said, a grammar mistake ends a sentence, not your life. That was genuinely funny and wise at the same time.
I have my moments. Okay, what else? I think we both rediscovered today that self-awareness is the foundation of everything. Before habits, before communication, before anything, you have to know yourself.
Know yourself. Know your needs. Know your patterns. Know your old story. And choose to write a new one.
Write a new one. I like that. And you don't write it all at once. You write it one day at a time.
One day at a time. One habit. One sentence. One brave conversation. One 6-month journey.
Okay, before we say goodbye, I have to say this. If this episode helped you, please subscribe to our channel or podcast. It means the world to us.
Every subscriber tells us
Keep going. You are making a difference. And we need to hear that too, just like you need to hear it.
Also, like this episode, it's one